Hey everybody. How we doing, everyone? Welcome in. Good night. Good evening. J-Cat finna do something crazy. T-Tan, how you doing? D-Turns, welcome in. Biggie 3. Gonna take a look at Biddy here. I've had a track record for the last week and a half. Every time I've gone live, we've had a monumental move here. So let's see if we can do it again tonight. Not that, obviously that's speculation, of course, but coming up to our range high once again. Pretty much getting rejected though so far. Possible lower high right here. So we'll see what we're going to look for here in the near term. What's going on, everybody? Let's hope BTC beats the range high. That's it. 45K, 44.9. A simple level. Brian's Crabtree, how you doing, man? Milos, this is, yes, the 4-hour candle, 4-hour chart. Good day, good day. We'll take a look here in a second. Howdy. Let's go. Yervy. Brian's Crabtree, got to see you doing well, my friend. Alright, so let's take a look, right? So I'm gonna keep some music jamming. It's our late night session. So this is Bitcoin, right? So for anybody who doesn't know, I do these live streams as well in the morning. I try to get on between 8:30 a.m. Eastern at this point. I may try to get a little bit earlier in the coming weeks here, back to the 7 a.m. time frame. But yeah, I was really looking to see if we broke out of this range, into tonight, or if we got a breakdown. Regardless, I was hoping for some more fireworks, but here we are, right, pretty much in the same area we were this morning when we were looking at this. But we will take a look, right? So what we are looking for right now, this is the range for Bitcoin that we've been paying attention to for several weeks at this point, right? We've had our range high mapped out at actually this level since about January 6th. Our range low has adjusted a little bit. For anybody that doesn't know, like I said, this is a dynamic range here, so it hasn't finished as far as timing goes. So it's very similar to a moving average or a candle, right? If you're looking at like a monthly candle, obviously this, the time frame I'm pulling this from hasn't closed yet, so it can adjust as more volume comes in. So at a time, the range low actually was down here at 36,500 for the longest time. It actually just recently shifted to up here, so that's why we're looking at the two differences here. And the reason I bring that up is last week we were paying attention when the range low was here, as we were grinding it down right into that range low. Obviously, we had that move to the upside, the pullback down to the $34,000 region, which was pretty much our historic range, not POC, the range EQ, so the middle of the range right there, right? So this dotted line essentially came down there and held. On a daily basis, we were looking for, this area to hold, this 36,000, actually it was over here, the previous low, right? This 36,200 to hold on a daily closing basis. That did indeed occur, right? We basically shot down here for maybe about 8 hours, 12 hours at max, and then we shot back out of that before the daily close there. So with that being said, right, the next move was we moved it back into the range, right? So our range low had hiked up a bit. Let's see if I can get this brush here, and essentially, right, we oscillate in between these ranges until they fully break. Here, essentially, we pushed it right back into this range, right? Came over, We did deviate once again right here, and what this really was our weekly pivot that generated on Monday or Sunday night, depending on when you're looking. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. So weekly pivot right here, right, this orange line. So we came down, tagged that weekly pivot just the other night. From there, accepted back into the range, came down, held the range low, and essentially from there we went, right? So our next major target was this 2-year key level right here. We had our point of control. If you go down to the 1 hour time frame and you watch these unfold live, that's exactly where we hit some roadblocks on the way up. Go ahead and take this off. Zoom that out, pull that range back on there. Computer's running a little slow, sorry. All right, regardless. Come on. Magic internet money in the house. All right, there we go. I got that magic internet money lagging computer tonight. All right, so if you zoomed in here to the 1 hour and kind of watched this all unfold pretty much yesterday, right? As we basically cycled this entire range in one day. We were looking at this in the morning where I was assuming that others would maybe look at this as a bear flag or even a, like an ascending channel to some degree, right? Where you had this price action kind of climbing higher at the time. You could have made this into a bear flag, yada yada, when in reality, right, all we were doing at this moment was actually getting accepted right back into this range, holding the range lows. At the moment, this was also our monthly open. We have a new monthly open, obviously, as March just opened up, and that's all the way up here now. And from there, we just took off straight up, right? And once again, those targets to the upside came in as some resistance. It wasn't long, but you can see in these 1 hour candles, right? It shot straight up to the 2-year key level. From there, our next major pit stop was up here at the point of control, only about 3 hours. Shot up from there, hit this quarterly key level. Monthly open is there now, but it wasn't there originally. Hit the quarterly key level, overtaken that, and then straight up to the range high. So from bottom to low, completely cycled through the entire range in one day. So now we've got this little spaceship deal going on right here. Sorry, hitting that late night vape, you know what I mean? Heidi's in here to cause chaos, perfect. So we got that rejection off the range high so far, came up, put in a little bit of a higher or a lower high right here as well. So at the moment, really still looking for this range high to get taken out, 45K. After this, and only after this, right, we look up to those next targets, which we've been on about for quite a while, but we'll touch on them again here for anybody that hasn't paid attention or hasn't been aware. We've got a yearly key level up here at about 47,700. That's probably going to be, a major area of interest, so to speak, on the way up here. But as far as when we break this range, what we'll be looking for as another range, we'd actually be entering back into this previous range right here, right, where we had that 52K peak back in Christmas time, right, and that range basically is from you got the low coming in right here, right, at 45,800. So we'd be re-entering this range at that point. If you re-enter that range, you got a natural target of the point of control, right? So that is going to be this white line, about 49K. In between that range low and that 49K area is the yearly key level right here, which, like I said, will probably be a major area of interest here between the two. After that, you got the range high at 50,250. And then from there, we'll obviously move on and upwards if we continue onward. All these get activated once this range high is broken through and held on a closing basis, right? So you're looking for at least a 4-hour candle, and that's minimum just to kind of get the juices flowing. You really want to see a daily close above this range high, about 44,900. So to the downside, what should we paying? What would we be paying attention to? Because we're still range bound, right? So right below us, we're stacked with some nice support, and like I said, you want to be living above this monthly open. Regardless of if we're above it or below it, it's still going to come in as some support or resistance, right? So this is the new March monthly open, right? So this is basically double stacked right here with this quarterly key level. Coming back down to this would not be, not out of the case by any means. Natural pullback, which we've kind of already pulled back there, just not from the range high so far. Right below here, however, is a little golden pocket, right? So that would also be an area of interest for me. I put this up in the group earlier, right? So you got a little golden pocket right below there, and that's about 42,750, give or take, in that region. So that's where I'd be, paying attention for, coming downward right here. Lose that though, we'd obviously be looking for our point of control, about 42K. And then we've also got our new monthly key level just generated at 41,100. From this entire move up here, right, from the low of about 37K all the way up to this high, if you're going to pull a golden pocket for that, that does actually take us down towards, where is it at there? Right here. So it's actually stacked up right on the 2-year key level. Which in reality, this is our major area of support that we really want to be living above regardless. This has been, our make or break for the last few attempts here, right? Once we get below this, we're, usually trending a lot lower. Once we get above it, we tend to, reach that high again. So this 2-year key level is very important. And even if we did come all the way back down to this 2-year, which is about 39,800, all we'd be doing is still just putting in a series of higher highs, higher lows, right? Because now if we're looking at this as our higher low, let me take off these. Right, we got this 37,000 from that 34, and then even coming all the way back here to our $33,000 divot right here. The only thing about this so far though that's not super attractive at the moment is we really haven't put in a higher high. So breaking this range to the upside would obviously be the ideal situation in the sense of an uptrend, creation here, or holding that upward momentum. Not necessarily 100% necessary, because once again, you can come down. We can be building this uptrend on this side now, but with that being said, coming back all the way down to this 2-year key level is obviously on the table, and realistically the range low, right? Because at the end of the day, we're gonna, you're cycling through these ranges until one end breaks, indefinitely here. So so far we've not had that. We've had a few deviations, but we've not necessarily broken this range and resolved higher or lower quite yet. So these are still the levels that we'd be paying attention for, right? Very simple. You got about 4 or 5 lines that you just can kind of keep your eyes on. Once again, coming back down to this monthly open key level would be the golden pocket of this smaller move to the upside right here. As far as a deep retrace, you probably would be kind of anticipating something more along the lines of this point of control or this monthly key level, and then even this golden pocket right here. The only thing I'll bring up with this idea here, waiting for these lower levels, is that we tend to get to these positions in the market, especially with Bitcoin, where we don't tend to get too many opportunities, let's just say, right? When we get a big fast move like this to the upside, granted we had the same type of move over here, so I mean it's debatable depending on how you're going to view the market, because we obviously came all the way back down to where we pretty much started from over here. But if you think back to October of last year, July of last year, granted we did come back and we revisited those price levels, but it was several months later, and usually when we get moves like this up and out of here, especially if we break this range high, I would imagine we're going to cycle higher pretty well. Does that mean go ahead and YOLO in right now? Obviously not. This is still major resistance at the moment, so you really want to wait to see the reaction at this level, and that key indicator, I guess, would be if we start closing 4-hourly candles into daily candles above this range high. That's a pretty decent indicator that we're probably going to be moving onward and upward there. Like I said, that range low for the previous range comes in about 46K. Then you got the $47,000 yearly key level right above that, and then you've got a $49,000 POC, so on and so forth. So yeah, it's pretty much what we're looking at for Bitcoin. Hey, thanks, chick. T-Bone. Yeah, man, you've been killing it in the group, buddy. Inspiration to others. Yeah, bro, still too obvious. What else? What do you mean by that? Hey, mention me. Good morning from Philippines. There you go. Christian Cruz. No one buys at this prices. Volume LOL. I don't know what you mean by that, but I guess we can laugh. Yeah, I'm not talking about volume as you know, this down here, by the way. So if that's what you are talking about, then yeah, you can definitely LOL at that. All right, yeah. So this is pretty much what we're looking at. I mean, super simple, right? We go into a lot more detail in the group, but as far as just a basic, if you just wanted to, you know, kind of keep up with certain levels to pay attention for, I mean, this is pretty much it. If you could almost date back the last month and a half, and this 44,900 has been the level to beat, right? Even when we came up here, tagged it twice. This is the 1 hour time frame, so these were just wicks on the 4 hour. So we've never closed the 4 hour above this level since January 5th. And it's exactly where we came up and tagged here again once more, right, as we come into that range high. So in a short-term idea too, right? Like, so what we realistically did right here is that we shot up. Note that this range high, if anybody was shorting this move, right, any way down, aside from if you managed to actually get it, you know, or even just generally, even if you didn't get the actual top here, there's two places you're going to set your stop loss for anybody, and realistically, it's probably not going to be all the way up here, right? Because this is, you know, it's only 2.5% more, but if you're on leverage, obviously that's a lot in that case. So a lot of times, you know, you're going to go for that previous high right here. So most people probably were setting that stop loss right above this high right here, if anybody was shorting this. And it's not everyone, of course, but there's probably a good amount that was, you know, would be shorting, would be looking to have that stop loss put here. And how quickly we moved it back, you know, that pretty much just came up and just basically ripped everybody out of that position. So in the sense of, you know, thinking too, like, okay, you got stopped out, you're anticipating the move just to kind of drop back lower, what would you do? You'd probably reopen a short here again. And then from here, if we get that move to the upside, that range high comes into play, right? Well, then that next level right here, that's the next stop loss more than anything. That's going to get taken out, 46K. Well, what is 46K? That is our next range low, right? So, yeah, to the up. I mean, we start moving to the upside. You know, it really could be, you know, some with the quickness, but that really doesn't, you know, come into effect or really start getting validated until we break out of this $44,900 level. I can only imagine, once again, right? Most are probably looking at this in the sense of a bear flag or ascending channel, something of that nature, right? And anticipating that this could break down, and it totally could. That's the thing. Like, you really do have to be prepared for both sides. So it just depends on what you're going to do. If you were to be shorting this position, then, you know, this is definitely the ideal area to consider, because you're at the range high. If we do break out of this, we're cycling higher, so putting your stop loss above here is ideal. You know, obviously you wouldn't want to be shorting from anywhere, you know, down below here. Definitely not at the lows of the range. So that's an idea. Granted, you know, now at this point, you know, we've come up through this range high once, twice. This could be considered, I guess, a challenge, but maybe not. So even if you're considering just these three, this one was a pretty big one, right? This probably, excuse me, this was a pretty big attempt to get through here, and this one it wasn't too far behind it. So I would imagine if we take another swing at this range high, pretty well, that might be the end of it. But once again, that's to be seen at this point. Pulling back down to this monthly open, quarterly key level, definitely on the table. Like I said, golden pocket right below here. That would be, a total move of only about 3-4% to the downside. So not totally unrealistic at all. Anybody that's starting to short in these positions would be in euphoria, right? Thinking that we're just going to continue straight down. But that would probably be an area where I would imagine we'd get a bounce at least, even short term. You do lose that level though. Like I said, you got the levels below it to pay attention for. In this time frame though, I find it hard to believe. This is almost like a disbelief stage in a sense. Granted, once again, just pointing out a couple scenarios, right? To where many are waiting for a pullback. Many are waiting for short position. Well, not even waiting. I mean, like I said, if you're going to take a short, it would be now in this window here. I just think that may not be the best scenario here in this. But if you do just throw a stop loss right there, you're talking about a 2% risk here, right? Right above that range high, 2%. And from there, you got. If we do cycle all the way back down to the range low, you got a pretty big opportunity here. Even if you started from here, right, you got a 2 or 3% down to the monthly open, 5% down to the point of control, 7% to the monthly key level, and then if we do reach the 2-year key level plus the golden pocket of this entire move, that'd be a 10% move to the downside. So you could risk 2% to make 10, but you would most likely, obviously if we break this range high, you're getting stopped out, but you wouldn't be holding on the way up to 47,000, right? So that's what you don't want to do. And a lot of times when we get these moves here, it's unforgiving, right? If anybody was not in the market quite yet, or if anybody is afraid to jump in because the market just moved up substantially, it's one of those mind games in that sense. But once again, not to say FOMO in at this level by any means, right? You do want to wait to see this resistance broken. And I know that sounds foolish to some people where it's like, why would I wait for, it to go higher? Well, because at the moment, realistically, it is more probable just due to, where we are in this range that we would go down. But when you start pairing up context around what we have done so far in the range, where we are, how this move has moved up, things of that nature, then it's, up to you to decide, is this something that's going to continue moving higher? If we break this range high on a 4-hour candle and definitely on a daily, I would say that we're going to be seeing these $47,000 to $50,000 range again. Will that happen overnight? More than likely not. We could even just range up here in this area for a hot minute, and just kind of bounce around between this 3% window here. I get it wrong no matter what. Mark, you're the man. You were killing it last couple of weeks, man. You had one bad trade. Don't beat yourself up. When you're a holder, continue to buy lows. There's no stress. Exactly, right? So there's a couple ways you can view this market, and the thing is with anybody that's just holding, just follow along with it and pay attention to what the market could do, right? So I'm just a guy on the internet also, right? So you don't have to take everything I say for gospel by any means. I've been wrong. But just the little things, like I bring up this point really, really well the last few days is like, look at Bitcoin's price action over the last, let's just say from January 5th, right? So we fell out of January 5th, 45,000, and fell down to $33,000, right? Which was one of our doomsday targets in the group, right? So we had these 2 volume targets down here, one of which, we were anticipating possibly seeing on this pullback here. We only missed it by $2,000. And with that said, when you're coming down to these levels, you can't, 100% get super greedy waiting for that exact low, because we all know how fast this stuff turns around. But regardless, I want to, I've been touching on the news a lot, right? And the fact that there was, I can't really bring up certain terms, I guess, but, a Fed meeting or energy crisis in another part of the world would cause the price action, because let's just say we started off both dumps at the same exact price level, right? We were at 46K and we dumped to 32. We rallied back up to 46K and we dumped to 34. Now the two news catalysts, right? If you're a fundamentals only driven person, which is nothing wrong with that by any means, right? Whatever works for you. I just like to point out that, it does go both ways, right? Where, I know a lot of people seem to believe that technicals don't work and this and that. I would obviously argue that they do. And fundamentals, on the other hand, are, to a point where you get whiplash almost trying to follow the news. Charts, I guess, could be the same way if you're struggling with that too. But for a perfect example, I'll get to that here in a second, but with this drop here, I don't even know what you want to consider the news at the time. Like, you could go with the Fed meeting, right? Fed meetings, I guess. I don't really even remember what was going on back here. I don't really watch the news catalyst that much, but I know that that's what everybody was sweating, right? The only reason I remember that is because I remember people in the group sweating it and always wanting us to touch on it. And I think that it gets really, really, heavy, the news at the lows every time. Things could come out here or there. You get this huge drop, and then it's like, oh, probably because of this or that. And, in March, the Fed's going to raise rates, or, something 2 months away, or whatever the case is. And then you get, a little minutes update or this or that. And at the lows, and everybody really expects lower, right? Then we get this huge move to the upside. Now, during this entire move down, we had a global conflict outbreak, right? The price action started off at the same position before that move down from Fed news, and did not even get to the same level to the downside, right? Now, with that being said, right, when you were looking at this, we were anticipating, going maybe 32,000. That's where we were, our worst case from that high side. But at the end of the day, what did we come down to? Once again, was our previous range, EQ, right in the middle here. We were looking for this area right here, this 36,200, to not be closed below on a daily basis, right? And let's just see how that played out. Oop. And you can see right here, right, this was our level that we did not want to see closed below on a daily basis. Realistically, I guess it was 36.2. And that's exactly what we did, right? We wicked down within 1 day, and before the day close, right? What did we see on that daily close that day? The price scooted straight back up to 37,000. So on like when we look back on this chart in years from now, nobody's gonna remember that this day right here was the global conflict, right? And that's just kind of what I'm pointing out here, right? Is that at the end of the day, what did we really do here? Well, we cycled to the range high, got rejected, cycled to the range low, broke out of that, deviated, hit the EQ of the previous historic range, turned around, right? Entered the range low right here, and away we go. Like that's to me, that's what happened, right? So just wanted to touch on that a little bit because once again, what was the biggest fear right here was that more news was piling on. Saw several people, even people I know personally, just selling right here. And because even we were anticipating another $2,000 drop, which at this point, if you'd been holding, you're talking about 6%. 6% to the downside, which equates to about 12 to 15% out of alts, which obviously is a big move, especially if you got a nice size portfolio. But if you've been holding, more than likely you've probably been holding for quite some time, right? Probably from the 69K top, and then at this level, if you decided to take that risk, because to me now 6 to 8% move to the downside, when you have the upside potential, of where we got to there, even if we just got back to the range low, was about 10% from where we were, right? So you got a double-edged sword here, and as far as that's concerned. And then what happens is we get this run up back to here, and then then it's like, okay, well now I'm just we're just gonna get a drop back again to this level, because once again, what was going on right here? Bad news, bad news, bad news. The news really affects people, I think, a little bit heavier once we're at these lows, right? We saw it back in December, right, with the variant that came out around there, and all kinds of things around that nature. But this drop over here, I don't think was as fearful around those lows personally as this one was. I think that this one really got to people based on the news around us, and just to throw that out there, I guess, right? Obviously, whatever works for you is for you. I think there is a level to where obviously the news and fundamentals play a role, but for example, this move down right here, I don't think anybody was prepared. You would have had to have your finger on the sell button as soon as like I said, I can't say certain words on here, but as soon as that big trouble happened last week, do you think that a bunch of people across the world just had their finger on the sell button on Bitcoin? It's hard to believe that would be the case, right? And that's the thing with news is like, unless you can catch it at the exact moment in time, you're going to be behind, right? And then whatever the case is here, right? I think that, something about, another country accepting Bitcoin or buying into Bitcoin, whatever the news was on this run up, there's always going to be a news story that comes out either with it or behind it. And you're never, I don't know, it's going to be tough to follow this just news only, in my opinion. So that's just that idea there. And I just portray that to show, because I think this is one of the best examples that I've ever seen, right? Is that literally in 1 month time frame, we had probably the most petty news over here, paired with literally WW3 news. And it did not, make the price action react the same way. So that's just something to consider for the next time, right? So, because like I said, there's so many people that panic sold down here looking for 32, 30. Even if you do get down to these levels, generally you get a bounce, right? So even if you were heading lower, but regardless, that's just neither here nor there. I just wanted to kind of touch on that. What's it look like in the months to come? So honestly, I mean, if we break this range high, we're probably looking up for quite a while, right? So, and does that mean all-time highs? Does that mean, past that? That's something we'll have to kind of like manage as we go. But if we break above this range high, and like I said, on a closing basis, 4-hour candle, daily candle, you're probably looking up towards $47,000, that yearly key level, right? And then from there, you got the point of control for the previous range at 49, and right, you got this next range low is right here. So we break this range, we enter this one, you got a natural born target of the volume target, point of control right there, right? So $49,000 comes in right here. Then you got the range high coming in about 50,200. So this would be that next major range to get above, right? And you can see how much this one has kept us down. And this is just at, a 45K level. I don't think I have to remind you how much rides on $50,000 main rounded number, regardless if the rounded number means anything. At this level, there's been so much action in and out of there that this is the range high. So $50,300 will be that next level to beat, and from there we'll probably head up to, we got a $58,000 point of control after that. So for now, these would be the next levels, right, to pay attention for. This would be essentially to rotate that range up there, another 12% out of Bitcoin. Along the way, we're going to get pullbacks, of course, won't go straight up. Probably something very similar to, what we saw from July to November last year, right, where we saw this move up for, 5 months, really, right? I'll zoom this out a little bit. So something similar, right, to this degree, right? We have this, upward momentum. All that really can begin again right after 45K, right? You get to this 45K range. Not to say that we can't pull back to these levels we've already been talking about, 39.8, all these things that make these higher lows along the way. But yeah, this, if we break this range high, you probably got a good amount of, upside for the next few months here. But still keep that level head, right? So we still are not out of this range. So breaking this range is the key. $44,900. Get above that, hold it, 4 hours daily. Then we look up. For now, we're still really range bound, and we are nowhere that we weren't right here, as we got rejected twice, call it 3 times. Difference here is now we got our monthly open coming in as support up here. Previously, which isn't the end all be all by any means, but our monthly open was down here at the range lows, so we kept finding a lot of support around there. But our monthly open now does come up in here with this quarterly key level. We've also got our point of control right below us here, about $42,000. So there's a lot of support really right in between this 45 to 42. And then if we start dropping a little bit below that, these two levels would be ideal for me, right? You got the golden pocket of this move from bottom to top coming right in at your 2-year key level. right? And that 2-year key level is really what our doomsday box was around, where we wanted to regain these levels for upside, right? So right here at the 2-year key level up to about 41, which is essentially now mapped off as our 2-year key level to basically almost the monthly key level. So all right. For anybody interested as well, if you know Magic Internet Money and he's another analyst on here. We do run the leading crypto Discord server, which is link is in my bio if you're interested in joining. Here you can actually find all of our updates between the three of us. We have an order flow and open interest specialist in here as well. He's out in Dubai and he does a great job of bringing just high quality educational content on order flow and open interest. Does a really good job of slowly just like really explaining how to utilize the resources and tools. In here you get all the altcoin updates for me. I just posted a link update right here actually for one of the members that didn't really request it, but I just kind of shot it his way as he was saying he just re-entered. Magic's got the best Bitcoin analysis you will ever find. We actually and I say he really mapped out the entire move from Christmas Eve of 52K down to 33, from 33 back to 45, from 45 back to the range low that we just experienced. And then we were looking for 32K, missed it. But once again, we had the validations of looking at that $36,000 200. And if we closed the daily below that, we were heading lower. Well, we didn't close that daily, right? So, and then from there, we actually brought up this entire move on how we're experiencing it now and why there's significance around the next move here. So for anybody that didn't see that in our live recordings, we do have that available for members. So we do one of these exclusive market updates, very in detail, Wednesdays and Sunday nights, 9:30 p.m. Starting this Wednesday, tomorrow night, we are adding in Max. So me, Magic, and Max. He's going to cover order flow, open interest live for you. Magic's going to go over Bitcoin, and I'll go over a couple of alts. And we take questions, very interactive, very interesting. And we've got the Academy here, where we've got a slew of educational content here that teaches you step-by-step how to read charts, build charts. If you don't know anything about how to identify ranges, key levels, volume profile, order flow, open interest, any of these things, we teach you how to identify these things. And even if you don't want to do them, build them yourself, you'll at least understand how to read it and understand when we're bringing it up. There's interactive channels in here as well for everybody to post their own charts, get some feedback. Really nice because we have a good amount of great traders around the world that post constantly. So even if Magic and I aren't available, which we're pretty much always available, there's somebody in here posting a chart. We got the order flow area, like I said, where Magic, everybody posts in here, but yeah, we've got a order flow specialist in here, and he covers a lot of this for us. So really, really great high quality content in here. And one of my favorite things, honestly, is that we've got a whole book section, right? So this is actually for Magic Internet Money as well. Pretty much his whole book collection on, if you want to learn how to trade harmonics, you got volume profile here, order flow, everything and anything you want to know and learn about trading. There's a book here, downloadable content for any member. As soon as you join, it's yours. That's enough of my sales pitch, but if anybody's interested, link is in my bio there. Like I said, tomorrow we will be going over our exclusive members-only market update again. And like I said, the last 3 market updates have been literally these exact moves, which have been pretty interesting to see. So we're pretty excited about tomorrow's update, and I think we'll be seeing some big, nice moves here coming for the market. But yeah, to answer your question about what the next few months would hold, it really lies on this range high, 44,900. So let's call it 45K. But yeah, we really want to break that, and we're heading up from there. Otherwise, we're still looking at generally the same supports here. Obviously, they've moved a little bit. We do have a new monthly key level. This golden pocket is obviously, due to this recent move, but it is basically lined up with the 2-year key level we've been paying attention for several weeks now as well. Our quarterly key level, which was already here, holding support and resistance, is now accompanied by our monthly open, which we want to be living above. But regardless, this is going to come in as some major resistance or support. And this is only about 2 or 3% away from our move here. But I would really like to say if we come down, right, this box would be, the general area that I think we, come down to, and we'd really want to look for a reaction out of this. I think that too many would be looking for this one just because it's also 40K, right? So once again, even if we do come down to that low, assuming we break lower, don't get greedy over 2 or 3%, right? And this goes for altcoins as well, right? So depending on your strategy, however you're maneuvering, or if you're DCAing in, if you're trading actively, whatever the case may be, obviously whatever happens to Bitcoin, you can double that and then apply that to altcoins. So just keep that in mind, right? So if we do start coming down this little box area of opportunity, in my opinion, and this is about 5%. Right, you got a 5% window between this monthly key open, quarterly key open, monthly open, and this point of control. This would be ideal in a sense of a pullback, just because this would be the 0.618. But also lining up with that 40K, I think this would be too easy for everybody. Once again, everybody's going to wait for that, that last little drop, and we could totally get a turnaround right there. Now that's assuming we get the turnaround too, right? So still just really paying attention to see how this reaction occurs right here at a Bitcoin on a 4-hour time frame. We are getting some lower highs right here, so we could start seeing a little turnaround. So we'll just have to kind of monitor that and see how we go there. Phantom and Avalanche, yeah. I mean, we go over those pretty often. There's a gentleman in the group, Rye Guy, man. He loves trading Phantom. Let me see what we were looking at recently. All right, so this was our last Phantom update here. So barely missed. I think Magic actually had his buy zone marked up here. I had mine a little bit lower. That's what's great about having a couple of us in there, right? You can kind of analyze between the two, but even for me, right, for this buy zone if met, this was on our Bitcoin meltdown, possibility, missed it by 4%. So you really want to stack, in between, on these levels to the downside, right, for this exact reason, because you miss something waiting on the exact levels, and look at where we turn around to. Anyways, from here we ran it up to the golden pocket, got a rejection, had a head and shoulders here, measured move was pretty much met down to this 2-weekly level. From there we ran it back up to the 12-month yearly key level right here. So from here, now you got a possible little bull flag going on, right? Obviously depends on Bitcoin. Yeah, it's a pretty crazy bull flag if that's going to be considered. It looks like a cobra more than anything. But regardless, however you want to look at this, you really want to overtake this golden pocket for one, this yearly key level, and then from there, right, from here, we're looking up. This is not the current monthly open because that was from February, so I got to change that. But regardless, you got a weekly NPOC up here at $2.10, so that's a volume target to the upside there. From there, we'd be looking up to the yearly open and so on. So you got a little bit of ground to cover still here for Phantom, and realistically, getting through this box is going to be the toughest one, right, short term. But you do get above that, reclaim this yearly key level at 191. And I'd be looking up at least towards that weekly NPOC back towards 210, and that'd probably be our next decent little pullback area, in my opinion, right? So regardless, we could punch through that, but right here would be a good area to take profits if you're in a short-term trade, a short-term swing. Otherwise, when you get to, the other thing about this is that you can keep up with these setups and just be aware that, all right, even if you're not short-term trading these things, you can understand that when we get to one of these, volume targets here or a quarterly key level or anything like that, you're probably going to get a pullback here. So even just understanding that without having to, rush to the news articles or whatever the case may be, these are just targets, right? So traders are going to take profits. People are going to start shorting, short-term, whatever the case may be. But that would be my Phantom outlook right there. What was the other one you said? Phantom and Avalanche. Avalanche. Yeah, Avalanche has been a fun one too recently. Damn it. I actually meant to post an update on this because it does. You got a couple of these altcoins pretty much like coiling up right here. It might not have been only Avalanche. I think even Luna has this kind of possible little bull flag going on right here. And yeah, actually we're getting this launch from here right now, so I should have posted this earlier. But regardless, what are we really doing here, right? We're reclaiming this 12-month key level. This is on a 1 hour time frame too, so I mean, we really want to see this candle hold above. But realistically, yeah, we got Avalanche here basically punching through. So next level here is pretty much coming in at the range high, about $95. Over here yesterday, as we kind of came in, held that key level. This is where we were looking at for here to take over. I saw that run up right there, and I don't think I posted this setup in the group here, but I will after this. Gala also looks the same way, man. I'm not Gala, Luna, which has just been absolutely crazy to see. The only thing I can say about Luna is that there's been so many people trying to short it. And on the funding rates, right, you can go to this website. There's multiple of them, but if you go to coinglass.com, you can look on here. I know it's not easy to see on TikTok here, but even still, Luna is positive in the funding, meaning that most are shorting, right? DOT is another one, and what's another one here? AXS, Gala is actually one, CRV, Waves is a big one. So when you see this kind of stuff, it's almost like a guarantee it's just going to keep running to the upside because you have everybody trying to short it, and what it's going to do is you're going to see these huge buys come in and liquidate all these short traders, right? So so that's Avalanche, right? At the end of the day, really simple, right? You're coming up to your key level here, yearly key level, overtaking that. We're looking up to the range high, about $96 coming in there. Let me take a look at Luna real quick now that I have it. Yep, so same deal. Whether this one's a little sloppy actually, but earlier in the day it kind of looked somewhat better. But regardless, you still just have this thing punching higher at the moment. This is really just ranging it realistically. There's no pattern you can pull out of here. The only thing I could say, actually, looking at this from the outside looking in, is right here you got a low, a high, higher low, and if you punch through with a higher high right here, then this is probably going to continue higher. And Luna, once again, has just been something that, I mean, just tear, just an absolute tear, right? I don't even know I had this fit pulled up like that. Over the last few days, even before Bitcoin's move to the upside, you got 100% move out of Luna, right? This is when Bitcoin started pumping. So you already were up 60%, give or take, and then you got the Bitcoin pump to the upside. Would I enter Luna? No. Right? Just too much risk at this point for something that's already ran up that much. But can it go higher? Yeah. And but at the same token, right? This is like only if you're in Luna already, consider maybe holding through. But this is not an area where I would enter, especially after you've already seen a 100% rally to the upside. And I imagine if you pulled up, you got, let's see here. So RSI wise, you got bearish divergence all over this, but it just hasn't played out, right? So you got higher highs, lower highs, and even on this move to the upside here, you got a complete meltdown in RSI. So I mean, at some point this is going to give, but this can still run higher, right? So this could punch up to 100 plus, whatever the case may be, or maybe it's done, who knows? But for me, this would be a no-go at the moment, just because of how much it's already ran. You got bearish divergence popping up here. I would skip this one short term and look for that pullback. Because eventually we're going to get that pullback, right? So like I said, there's just too many trying to short it right now, and it's just an easy run. And even yesterday, I mean, this basically had a blow off top, kind of. I mean, when you were looking at it in the daily, just look at those. I mean, before you got these two right here, I mean, it just ran it straight. And then looking at this from a fib extension, even if you're just pulling it from here alone, you're talking about a full move all the way up to the 2618, basically in 2 days. That's a big move all at once. 40% just in 1 day on a large cap at that. So that's this isn't like looking at triads or X-Curve. I mean, this is like watching Ethereum just punch through 50% in a day. But yeah, so that's just keep that in mind. Whatever can go up higher for sure. Would you absolutely be entering at this level? You know, it's risk, high risk for sure. Let's take a look at Ethereum while we're on the horn there, right? So ETH has got a nice simple chart as well. Other day, right, we were looking at this possible double top when this came through, which once again, I don't think that that's really what this can be considered now, but regardless, we had this area of interest coming in right here at the support. Now, this is when we were still anticipating Bitcoin could go a little lower, so I bring this up because of the same reason, right? If Bitcoin went lower, we were looking to this previous point of control and then the range low back down at $2,300, possibly this 6-month level down here. And this is just, you kind of have to, as things unfold, you'd be looking for these levels, but realistically, you should, you know, strategize around this and say, okay, you know, this support box is first here. You know, this is an area where I maybe want to put in if I'm DCAing, for example, right? Like this is a good area to get in with, because at any point when you have these areas, right, to the downside, at any point, you know, you get that turnaround, right? It's not always just going straight down to that major target. And once again, this is all kind of based on Bitcoin too. Because seeing any significant moves out of these altcoins, you got to assume that Bitcoin's getting a pretty decent move to the downside. So put that in perspective, if we were to see this range low, that's about 20% out of Ethereum. And this was from the other day. So if we were to go all the way down here, you need at least a 10% drop out of Bitcoin, right? So just things of that nature where, and it's not always, you know, double for Ethereum because it is a large cap. It's pretty much easier for the other alts, but regardless, support box posted in the group. This is pretty much where it came down to for now. And since then, it's had a good 20% rally to the upside. At the time, right, you want to see that monthly open regained. This is now changed because, well, this is still a monthly open to pay attention for, but you don't need to look at it right now. But at the time, that's what we were looking for. We had a monthly open, right, our monthly level there, and we had our 2-year key level coming in, which is just similar to Bitcoin. This is equivalent to Bitcoin's 39,800. You want to see that level regained and held. It's exactly what we've done so far. Broke above, retested it, and, you know, off to the races we've gone. Now looking at as far as the overall range here, which I'm pulling, yeah, so this is the overall range we're in. And realistically, the next major level to pay attention for is this range high. Notice how it's double stacked pretty much with the key yearly key level right next to it, a high time frame area of price, high time frame average here, about $3,100. Get through that level right there, and it's pretty much clear skies. Not that it would happen overnight, and I'm sure I could make, you know, there's some levels of resistance in the way, but anything major as far as just like a midterm hold here would really be these up here, right? So you got a yearly open up at about 3,700, a golden pocket of the entire move down from 5,000 to 2,000, 4,800 to 2,000, whatever you want to look at it. And then you got there's one NPOC for Ethereum on the way up. And it's right at $4,000. So keep that in mind, because this is probably an area where we're going to see a rejection from in the short term if we come back up here, right? So, and what will everybody think? That it's 4,000 on the dot and whatever. But realistically, there's a major volume target up here. So keep that in mind. What happening? Why it's dominant so high, Luna? Why is dominance so high, Luna? Dominant. I don't know what you mean unless you're talking about Bitcoin dominance. The website to look at is for funding rates. It's called coinglass.com. So it looks like this basically, right? So one thing that I pay a heavily but I look for Binance and Bybit the most, right? Which that's just me personally, because all these exchanges are, have a lot of volume going through it at this point. I think FTX is getting up there too. But regardless, Binance and Bybit to me are the two top to pay attention for at least Bitcoin. Binance, I think, has got more leverage altcoins just because they've had more of them for quite a while. But when these are lit up in green, that means the funding rates are positive. So you got nets are shorting, which isn't the baseline you want to see. Pretty much is this, right? This is pretty much equilibrium at 0.01, and when it's in white, when it's in green, it means it's tipping the scale towards shorts. When it's in red, it's considered overheated, right? This is when everybody's more going long, and this doesn't mean every single person. This could mean 51% of people, right? So as this number increases, though, like for example, in November, BTC and Binance and Bybit were at like 0.09, 0.08. So they were almost 10 times, the baseline basically in longs. So there was 10 times the amount of longs basically in the space. Up until the other day, the shorts were just as bad, right? And Luna was one of the biggest ones up until yesterday. So I didn't pull it up in time, but like AXS, for example, you can see right here you got 0.06. That's pretty high as far as shorts go. 0.05, so that's 5 and 6 times, 4 times AXS. So I would imagine that AXS probably continues to the up. And this is just something to consider, right? This is not gospel either, right? But it's just something when you see the most people to get hurt right now would be shorts. Right, it could go down a little bit, right? Give them some euphoria for a minute, but then it's likely that you see a rip to the upside, right? So AXS is a really example of that at the moment. Everything else is kind of calmed down for the most part. Waves is another one. So Waves is one that's been just ripping as well, right? So Waves, we had a setup for that the other day, and Waves had just gotten added to Bybit as well for perpetual contracts. Not that I feel like that had anything to do with it, but Waves has just been nasty. So same thing, right? I'm sure most people are trying to short the hell out of Waves, and you just keep getting knocked out. What was the setup here? It was essentially just coming in at the time we were at the range low, right? So right here. Point of control, I'd like to say, I don't know why it's not pulling up, but the point of control and the monthly open basically lined up right here. So we were just looking, at the range low is ideal areas to get involved, right? Or the range high. So if you're going to long something or get into something, you want to look for it when it's around the range low. Reason being, right, you have the higher probability to cycle through the range. At this moment right here, the range high was actually only at $11, which was a good move, right? 30%. And essentially you look for this monthly open in the POC to get regained, and then away you go, right? So this one we just launched. So if you would have got in at this range low, right, you could have took it up to, we had a quarterly key level, got a little pit stop there on a 4-hour time frame, but aside from that, we had a monthly key level, got to the range high, broke the range high, back tested it, and continued up, and then straight same way as Luna, right? Just complete madness to the upside. Busted through the yearly open. This level here, right there, range high from back here in basically November. So that's pretty much where we got stopped right now, is that previous range right there. But if that continues up, which like I said, it's just a powerhouse right now. Once again, I wouldn't enter this by any means. And if you check out the RSI on this, same deal, right? Just overextended, which this can remain overextended, but this is definitely not a time when you want to buy. If you're already in Waves, obviously congrats. I'd be looking up for these key levels right here next, right? And overall, this would be a very similar move to Luna at the end of the day. Even now, you're talking 135% from that range low. You punch it up to these quarterlies, and you're talking almost 200% over the course of a few days here, right? So this is February 24th, and even if you're in from the low and up to there, I mean, you're still talking 135%. But this is a big one, right? So for me, that helps a lot when I look at some of these coins, especially if you're considering going to short some. It's just another indicator, even, right? Like, because it's not certain. 44,500. Are we punching up? Let's look at Bitcoin. Let's look at Biddy. But yeah, it's just something to consider, right? But also, like I said, waves, this is not something you'd be looking to get into right now. Can it go up? That's the thing, right? Even if we punched it all the way up, that's another 30% if you got in right this second. And if we get to this level, so those are big ifs, but there's a lot more downside, possibly than upside, in my opinion. So that's not something, and this is why you don't chase the green candles, right? Because the risk is, way worse than the reward at this point. Had you gotten in at that range low, good to go. Let's take a look at that bitty. If you guys, want access to all these altcoin setups, by the way, like I said, join the leading crypto Discord group. Link is in my bio there. You'll have all the updates to my altcoin setups. You'll have Magic Internet Money's Bitcoin updates. He actually does a great amount of altcoin updates as well. He's really good at picking bottoms, if that's something to be proud of. And yeah, he's a bottom picker for sure. But no, he pulls up, like I said, like Phantom nailed it. VeChain, he nailed the bottom. He nails bottoms. He's incredible in that aspect, even on altcoins, which whatever. I mean, you can chart whatever with your skill set. We've got our live market, members only market updates here. So anybody that wants to watch the one from Sunday, if you join today, go in there, watch it, because that one is really imperative to the next few weeks coming up. We're also going to have another one tomorrow night. We do it Wednesday and Sunday nights, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. We got an academy here with basically a step-by-step how-to on everything we do, every tool and resource we use, and a slew of other things here. So if you're interested in joining that, it is in my bio. Now back to Biddy. Still just dancing, flirting with the range high. I was really hoping we get some action out of this, right? Last few live streams we jumped on here, we had some nice, good candles here. This was the last, well, not last, this was yesterday's morning, but we were pumping through on this live stream here. Last Wednesday we were live while we were grinding into the range low at this point. I'm manifesting a Bitcoin move right now for you all. I'm a power bottom. Oh my god. Oh man. Knox says there's too much content to keep up with. I mean, that's not a bad problem. I can guarantee you that this is the most you will get bang for your buck in that case, right? Between the three of us, putting up all the effort and the energy that we do, and if you apply yourself to some degree, I feel like you should be well aware of what to anticipate and expect in the market. And this is the great thing, right? When even like if I'm not around, if Magic isn't around, which as many of you know at this point, I don't think Magic sleeps. And then we got Max in the group. He clocks on at 10 p.m. Eastern, right? Because he's over in Dubai, so he's available all night long. We're blowing and going all day, every day, trying to prepare you the sauce. Yeah. So just kind of touching back on this idea here, right? Unless this range high gets taken out, we're just range bound, still just ranging between this low and high at the end of the day. Do I foresee us coming straight back to this range low at the moment? No, but it's always, that would be the idea. If we start getting rejected, that would be the major area to be paying attention for. But do realize we got some stops in the middle, right? You got this monthly opening, this quarterly, that's probably going to act as some support if we come back down to it. We got a golden pocket that is right below that, right? Golden pocket right here, boom. So that kind of aligns. That's triple stacked support right here. And then just kind of think about it, right? Like with the amount of people, because of the news, that were very, very, very afraid at this drop, that may have sold out earlier or didn't buy in, if they were looking to add to their positions. When you see stuff like waves and Luna and this, things that are pumped 100% and 50, 60%, I mean, it's scary to try to enter the market at those levels, right? And for good reason. You shouldn't be looking to pick up at certain highs, but you got to also kind of pay attention for what's that next level to realize that, okay, we're going to probably continue up from. Always up to you to base your strategy around some of this stuff, but it is really one of those scenarios where we're at 44.3 right now, and the real idea would be not to buy, right? Because you don't know. Realistically, we'd be more probable to come down, and you'd be looking for these levels below. That trigger to the upside, however, does come in right here, right at 45K. We flip that to the upside, then yeah, that's your go sign. Will that mean that we're going straight up? Still doesn't mean that, right? This is just the probability at that point is yes, we'd go higher. So that's what a lot of people struggle with, and this is where you kind of have these are the validations and invalidation levels that you have to kind of create for yourself, right? So how do we know, or how should we anticipate going higher? Well, if you break 45K on a 4-hour time frame or a daily, probability of going up is high. At the moment, realistically, probability is we're going to go down a bit, right? Because we're not breaking this range, and we just cycled the entire range from low to bottom in a day. Do I feel that we'd go higher? Yeah, I think we will here shortly, but that could mean we range it out for a bit. Do I think we're going to come all the way back down to these levels? While they make sense, I don't know that we'll get them, right? Because once again, this is what most want right now. Most, and in the sense of even that, like, it's that FOMO city, right? Unfortunately, and people are going to be really, really worried at the bottom. Look for a pullback now, which you might get. You might get it down to 40K, right? I don't think we will. That's a big psychological level that would be crazy to get back to. But if we start coming down, then we know what to look for. I'm not gonna, don't be ignorant and think that it's impossible. But yeah, this is pretty much our game plan right now. Is at the moment you want to look lower, right, to some of these key levels, unless this range high gets flipped, right? You flip this 45,000, and we're heading up. Probable, right? The probability of that is high. Guaranteed, no. A small pullback would be good and healthy. Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, I mean, we got the levels to watch. Realistically, this golden pocket would be ideal in a smaller pullback here. This will only be 3 or 4%. And the only reason I bring that up is because that is a golden pocket of this like shorter term move here. We also have it triple stacked with some support. And then also, if we get down to this level, I just foresee most not being willing to buy there, right? Because they're going to be waiting for lower. And then that's the case, right? This is not set in stone that this would be our area, right? You do have the point of control right back here, which we can see how it held as support and resistance several times already. So, that's a major area as well, 42K. And then from there we got our monthly key level, 2-year key level below that. But I think that this would be where everybody stacks up their orders at. I think that this would be an area that we don't revisit, just in the sense of I think everybody would be getting greedy and waiting on that, and then we turn around before that. So that's just an idea at the moment. Obviously, speculation, but we do tend to see these, and this is the thing at the psychological level now. If you're going to consider that, right? Like I said, we ran it from here to here, and when we were down at these lows, I mean, I don't know. I'm a bad gauge, I guess, on the fundamentals, but I don't think I've seen fear as big as this one in a long time. And there's nothing you could say or do. Like I couldn't say something to anybody that was just genuinely fearful. There are people just selling out, right? Like anticipating to go lower. They couldn't handle any more loss. And it's just, there's nothing you can show or do or tell anybody that, that's not a great idea, blah, 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 blah. And then we turn around, and then we turn around fast, right? So by the time anybody, this happened, this move here, I was live on a live stream at 9 in the morning. So most people are at work, or depending on where you are in the world, of course, right? But like by the time people logged in and checked their stuff, or they weren't available to do anything, and if they didn't have a plan, for sure, they really didn't know what to do. But like I said, when we re-entered this range, held the low, essentially from there you anticipate running this range back. You don't anticipate it all in one day, but that's the game we play. And I just can't help but get that feeling almost of a little bit like when we had, but do know this is just a feeling, right? So not to take that 100, but if this is that run, just similar to July when we get this really nice run up. We had the same one in October, right, where everybody's getting really fearful and bearish this wasn't actually that bad. This was pretty much like just a September sell-off, and everybody was kind of anticipating this, honestly. But they got greedy at the lows, right? They were looking for 37 only, so they didn't take 39. They didn't take 40. And then we ran it up from there, right? And it took several weeks before anybody, realized that, okay, we're gonna keep going. I don't know if you want to be on that boat, right? So for me, that trigger that we're going to keep going really comes into play when we break this range to the upside. I know others are probably looking at, coming all the way back up here to 52K before they consider this, whatever, valid and whatnot. I think that would be, a misservice to yourself in the short term. But once again, for you to decide, of course. I'm just a dude on the internet, and I've been wrong before. So Crypto Presidente Parabolic says a big move to the upside. I think Parabolic always says a big move to the upside. But yeah, I mean, I would agree, right? So if we break this range high, we're going up. We're going up. That's I don't know what consists of a big move for you, but I mean, pushing back towards 50K is a big move, right? So and then from there, we're looking up towards 58, and so on. So yeah, if he's saying a big move to the upside, I mean, I think that that's on the table for sure. I think we got a good couple of months coming our way. Does that mean in the next day or so that's gonna unfold? I mean, we've already had a nice move to the upside, so don't neglect that, right? This is a 20% move or 30% move out of Bitcoin in just a few days, so that's already kind of begun if that's the case, and then from here, yeah, you'd be looking up. So range high is pretty much that golden ticket in my opinion. End of March. Is Near showing a glimpse of much higher highs? So Near was one that we had yesterday too. I like Near. Let's see here. Where we got this Near. So you had Near here, inverse head and shoulders, right? Also, basically, we were living outside of this range. A breakout of this, I had a measured move, basically taking it up towards this monthly open and the point of control. So essentially re-entering this range low. We'd be looking for the range high after that, right? So the range high actually does come in for Near all the way up here at about $16. So that's another 60% to the upside. So far, this head and shoulders target has been met for 30%. And we've overtaken, like I said, re-entered the range here. You got your monthly open. That's a previous monthly, but regardless, you might have a little pullback towards this point of control, about $11, which is not too far from where we are now. If you hold that point of control, I would imagine we continue on this journey to the upside here. You got a couple of key levels in your way, the yearly open. So these are some pretty big milestones on the way up, and then that range high at the end of the day is what we're really targeting. So total move would be almost 70%, and then from where we are today, you're talking about 42% to that range high. Once again, don't expect it overnight, and do anticipate some small pullback here. But yeah, I would say Near has got some near term upside. Quant looking like yo. Quant looking like yo. Mark, never look a gift horse in the mouth. Gesundheit, thank you. If that was towards me. What was the one? Quant, yeah. Quant looking like yo. I don't know what that means, but I like the term, I guess. So Quant, right, had this setup for the downside. So we were looking for these two areas for QNT. Point of control / monthly open, or the range low. So once again, these are where you want to scale in, because you don't want to, at any point this turns around, and this was an ideal area alone, under $100 at the point of control, at the monthly open. Range low was $10 beneath that, so that would have been obviously a killer move, another 10%, but getting greedy at that low, and realistically we fell all the way to 92, so you would have missed this move by 5%, and so far, Quant's looking like yo. But in the short term here, I imagine we're probably going to get this bullish continuation right here. If you're going to move that to the upside, regardless, you can pattern this out, but you got the monthly key level right above. You can see that that's where we actually ran it up to so far. Got the rejection. These key levels are pretty major targets, right? These are high time frame averages of price that get respected pretty well. So overtake this monthly level at 123, and these have been the same levels we've been looking at for Quant for the last few weeks too. Overtake this 123, and we're looking up, right? You got the range high coming in at 148. And then 160 for the daily, and you got your yearly open at 180, and then realistically, we're targeting 210 at the end of the day. But you got your staircase, on the way up. So just pay attention for those. Your number one area to get back above though is going to be this 124, 123.9, whatever. Sorry. So Quant be looking like yo. Quant be looking like yo. All right. What time is it here? 11. Been an hour and 20. All right. So I'm probably going to wrap it up here. I was hoping we'd have a nice bitty blast off. Did not happen, so sorry about that. I was trying to manifest it for you all. We'll be putting a couple of updates here in the group tonight. Going to go through a couple more altcoin charts. If anybody's interested in joining Leading Crypto Discord, this is where Magic Internet Money and myself, we run this here with our buddy Max over in Dubai. He's our order flow and open interest specialist. But in here, you'll get all my altcoin updates here. You get Bitcoin analysis and the occasional altcoins as well out of the power bottom himself, Magic. And then we do 2 exclusive member-only market updates every week, Wednesdays and Sundays, 9:30 p.m. All the previous ones are in here. If you join now, or if you're already a member, if you haven't seen Sunday's update, give that a watch, because it's pretty much outlines this move here and what to expect next. And then tomorrow, obviously, we're going to update going from there. You got the Academy here if you don't know anything about trading this market, building charts, reading charts, identifying ranges, key levels, points of control, anything like that. This is going to walk you through how we utilize these tools and resources, even if you don't want to do it yourself, just to be able to understand when we're posting it. And then there's a slew of other things in here as well. So one of the biggest ones to me, like I said, I really enjoy the book section. I think that this is really nifty for anybody. This book collection alone is probably worth its weight in gold. But this is where you can come in. I mean, there's harmonic trading. You got volume profile. There's order flow and open interest in here. So I mean, if you're somebody who likes to actually read through and understand some of these things on a higher level, there pair that with the videos that we created. Also, some pretty big value there. And somebody in the group earlier said that there's too much content to even keep up with, right? So that's obviously the goal, to just be constantly putting a lot of things in here for you. So like I said, join in the bio if you're interested. We'll be putting updates there. Otherwise, I'll be live again tomorrow morning, 8:30ish a.m. Eastern. For anybody that wants to attend that, we'll pay attention to this range once again, and then the occasional nighttime live stream going further. Thank you, everybody. Hope you have a great night, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Till next time, cheers.